now we have, for example, maybe 300 game suppliers who are doing slots. I would guesstimate that we will have 10 in 10 years from now. Okay, the end user is playing, but we are not playing. We are here for business.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of the iGaming History podcast. I have the pleasure of being joined today by Lars Kollind, investor and senior advisory board member for MConverts. Lars, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Pleasure having you, Lars. For anybody who doesn't know who you are, please give us a short introduction about you.
So I've been in the gaming industry for, if you count the poker club, then so basically since 2004. So it's now soon 21 years, something like that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long year.
Why did you start with poker?
It was pure. I didn't mean to, like, what happened was we had a group of friends. We liked to play poker. So we started what we planned to have was basically a small poker club for friends and friends of friends. And that was it. And this was right. We didn't know this. We didn't plan this, but this was right when the poker boom started. So we started to get requests not only from friends of friends, but friends of friends of friends and friends. It just exploded. We had a small, very amateur like website. And back then, I don't know if you know, but back then you had a little ticker or a counter in the bottom of the page. You can see how many people who are visiting your page. And I was sitting in my office. I worked back then. This was 2003. I worked as key account or sales for a newspaper, Dagens Industri in Stockholm, Sweden, or selling ads for them. Let's be clear on that, via service. And I just logged into the webpage, and all of a sudden I saw that we had like 600-700 visitors on the page, which is very, this was a Friday. Normally we have 50-60 who checking where we're going to have the event, because we didn't have a fixed venue. And then we had the event on every Saturday. We had to find a new venue every Saturday because we didn't have a fixed one, and then it just exploded. So then we started having events on Fridays and Saturdays, and then increasing to middle of the week. And then all of a sudden, I just decided, let's go for this full time, because this is getting too big. And I was super lucky. So the person sitting right across from me in this open space, like office space, her husband had a venue like he was working for an event company who had a venue in the middle of Stockholm, right in the center. And it was a building built in like mid-century 1890, I think, something like that. And they had 3 floors, but the bottom floor was never rented out because nobody wanted the bottom floor because it didn't have any windows, right? So, but for us, that sounded perfect. No windows, no inside, no one could look in. So it was perfect. So we basically, I went there, I met him. His name was Anders, by the way. And I met him, and he showed me the venue. And for me, this was crazy. I mean, when you walk down the stairs, it looked like any other, like normal event venue. But when we came down, he opened the door. All of a sudden, we have this like big century, like 20-meter ceilings, big chandeliers, a bar already built, a room perfect for cash game with like spotlights. We had another room, big room that was perfect for tournaments. and the whole, I think that there must have been around 400 square meters. I'm not sure, but something like that.
Right.
So I had to keep a straight face because obviously we didn't pay too much rent, right? But we wanted it full time. So we agreed finally to that, and then we just popped in the tables, got sponsorships from I can't mention the company because they don't want to, but so we got the tables, we got the chairs, and all of a sudden I had 30 employees down there, everything from bar people, dealers, everything. We didn't have any casino tables, like no blackjack, no roulette, pure poker, and that was it. And it exploded. So we went from, I don't know, let's say 200-300 members, and then once right before we closed down in late 2007, we were up to plus 3,000 members. It was actually hard to keep track because there were so many people, which made us, I think we were on par in size of number of members of this UK club, Dusk to Dawn, I think it was called back then, in UK. Not sure, they might have been bigger, but we were at least very big for being in Northern Europe, absolute biggest. So that was crazy. That was a cool thing. Now, yeah, obviously things like this will come to an end at some point. You're either gonna get robbed or police is gonna think this is not really 100%. So and yeah, it came to an end. I'm not gonna go into details on how it came to an end because you can Google that if you want to. It's all over. But so it came to an end. But I had figured this out that it's gonna come to an end. So what I did during like the last say year, I launched a poker event company. So we had many of the guests, like normal standard guests, were also working for poker companies. So they realized quite quickly that this is a perfect venue for them to bring down their players, to actually have like a VIP event for their online players. So what we did was that I formed a company that did poker events, and we also then expanded to, because poker was such a big hot thing, right? So we expanded out to companies like Microsoft wanted to do an event. We had other big brands who just basically wanted to entertain their staff on a Friday or a Saturday. Which we did not only in our venue, but we did it in other places as well, because when we closed down, we couldn't keep the venue. So we had to move, and we rented other party venues and just shipped up the tables and had dealers, and did that for a while. And that was how I got into the poker world and got to know all these people. And then just one morning, I woke up and said, we need to expand this because there is a limit to how many events you can do and how many poker companies that is willing to do this, and how many, I mean, it was, and we had a big competitor, it was actually called Poker Event, who did this in Sweden. So we were the number two. So even if you Google poker event, we were always the second place in Sweden on Google. And so we needed to expand to do something more. And I just woke up. Actually, I went to bed and I had this idea in my head, and then I woke up and I said, this is fucking brilliant. So what we did was sports agent for poker players. So let me explain this. If you remember back then, you had all these players, young players from 20, whatever, 18, 20 to 25, 30, who were sponsored by Full Tilt, Poker Stars, Dogs Room, etc., because there was such a hype, and there was ESPN showing them, there were WPT, there were all these TV shows, right? So for them to get a badge where it said Full Tilt or Poker Stars, whatever it said on the whichever brand, they did these deals with these young people, but the young people or the young players didn't really have an understanding of how to maximize the value out of the deal that they did with the sponsorship. So they got very little paid. When I asked the poker players how much did they get paid per year to do this deal with Full Tilt, it was basically peanuts. So I said, okay, fine. So what I did was I approached the top players in Sweden first, and then we expanded out. So in the maximum we had was 60 players with Annette Oberstad. I had Jamie Gold, the World Series of Poker winner. We had all different kind of players for all over the world. We had one competitor called Poker Royalty. They focused purely on US. So they had Daniel Legrand, Phil Helmut, and the other ones. And we basically took the European side, LATAM, and that part, and those famous players. And obviously a few from US, but very few, mostly from Europe and LATAM.
Because there are two major events that happened in this timeline. Basically, was the UIGEA, which came from the US, and then there was Poker Black Friday. Did you notice any changes when the US regulation came out? Not any.
No, because the poker industry didn't really, they didn't care, especially Full Tilt. They were just blasting out in US. They couldn't care less. So I didn't notice anything, and we just went on. I mean, when we started properly doing this, being the agents for poker players, no one ever mentioned anything to us, and we knew. So I knew somewhere in the back of my mind that U.S. U.S. laws is not really. I mean, it was not illegal to actually. If you read the law, it was not illegal to offer poker online. But the problem came with the money. How do you put in money, right? Because it was that was the tricky part. So they had to circumvent that by either buying banks, or they were doing all this kind of weird stuff to get players to play, and to get the money into the account. And then so that was but we didn't really notice anything about that. And obviously the thing that made everything collapse completely was Black Friday, right? It was a horrible day, because you've been building something for 4+ years. And I was not married. I was single back then. So I basically worked every day, 16, 12 hours per day, including weekends, just to make this happen. And we had, instead of hiring people in different countries, what we did was that we reached out to other people known, like people that I know could negotiate for us, and they became basically was a franchise. So we had people in Portugal, we had people in Spain, we had people in whatever. They went out and scouted players in their region, and they but then were the front people for poker icons in their region. So we had like you can call it a franchise, and they got, and we took a cut obviously from the sponsorships and from. So the basically how the deal worked is that we signed the poker player. The poker player got the deal from Full Tilt for, let's say, 150,000 euros. We took a cut from that, which was depending on the player, how famous they were, etc. But everything from 10%, even up to 50%. And then if we had an agent, let's say, who were representing Spain, he got a cut from our cut. So he went out, and that's how it worked. So it was a big network of people all over handling these players. And Black Friday came. I was sitting having dinner, and my CFO who is also a good friend of mine, Jonas. He's a very, very strict guy. Like extremely, he doesn't swear. He doesn't like. He's a very like a guy you want as a CFO.
Yeah.
Very like down to earth, strict. I was the push. I was like the gas, and he was the brake, basically in the company. I wanted to do all these crazy things about sponsoring this, get our name out there, do this, and he said, "No, Lars, we need to look at the budget. We need to do this," and this was a perfect combination. But anyway, so his role was basically to keep track of everything. And I was sitting having dinner on a Friday, the Black Friday. And again, remember, he doesn't swear ever. I never heard him swear in his life, either via written mail or via phone call ever. And the header of the email was "We are fucked." And if Jonas writes "We are fucked," that means we are mega massively screwed. Like it's over, it's game over. So I just clicked on the mail. What does it mean? And I started clicking on the links to Full Tilt, PokerStars, everyone, and just a big FBI logo just came up on the screen. And obviously, my whole inbox of email in my phone just started coming in from the big companies saying, contract canceled, force majeure, contract canceled, force majeure. There was like, shoo. So everything I built in 4 years, 24/7, basically, I didn't do anything else, or we didn't do anything else, was gone in 4 hours, like completely off the chart. There was no money. So I just contacted Jonas and said, take out all the money from that we have in the player accounts, try to protect ourselves as much as possible. And I told the players that we had to do the same. And Jonas was a little bit reluctant. He said that this was only for US. And I told him, listen, this is going to spread very fast. We're not going to get our money. So take it out, everything out. And we managed to get out roughly 90% of the money before everything was blocked. But at least, and the players were very happy that I contacted them immediately and just screamed at them, take it out, take it out, take it out, because this was a major event that's going to spread like cancer all over the world very quickly. So that was it. So that was the end of that little venture. It was super fun. Traveled all over the world, taking care of the players. I mean, they were young, 20 plus. So they were earning so much money, like they were winning tournaments for millions of euros here and there. So they had it was, I mean, if I go into details of the funny stories, you will be shocked. But I mean, they had no concept of money. Like their grasp of money was so weird. Like one person, I remember one player, he took a taxi in Amsterdam, and he called me up and called me up and said that he had forgot his bag, because we had given him a camera to basically vlog, right? To produce more media. So he called me up and said, Lars, we have a problem. I lost my bag in the taxi, so the camera is gone. I'm like, what's the problem? Just buy a new camera. You're a millionaire. Just go and buy a new camera. Yeah, that's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that there was €500,000 in the bag. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, it was €500,000. So apparently, he called me up and asked me if I can get his €500,000 back, and said, which taxi company? It's like, no, we just took one, some random of the street. And then I said, no, your money is gone. You can forget about those money. A taxi driver, on the other hand, is going to be very happy.
Yes. If he got the money, if he didn't just get a passenger.
Or some passenger will be very happy, or the taxi driver. And then and he's like, and then his comment, this tells you everything about how the concept money. He said that's okay. I had stake in another player who came second, so I'm sort of even. It's okay. And then he just hanged up. And that was €500,000 that he thought, okay, fine, I just lost it.
Which at the time was also more.
Yes,
Well, then you would
half a
be.
million euros, the 15, 16 years ago. I mean, it just, or more, 18 years ago. I mean, it's insanity. And he
Yes.
thought it was okay, fine, okay.
Do you remember how you brought yourself back up again after that crash?
Yeah. Uh, I mean, if you build something and you become one of the biggest in the world, which we were in terms of players, Poker Royalty in US, I'm sure they made more money because of Phil Hellmuth and Daniel Legrand, etc. But in terms of player, we had more, and so we were the biggest in the world. We ranked. If you search poker agency on Google, we were number one. Um, so it was hard. It was like a massive punch in the stomach, and I didn't do anything. I think for 2 weeks I basically just sat and stared into the wall. I didn't do nothing. I was just I didn't really know what to turn, right, because this is like everything you've been doing for 4 years. But after 2 weeks I got a phone call from Bet24 from Thomas,
Mhm.
and we spoke, and he said, "Do you want to come over and manage the poker department, or the online poker department?" So that was my first entry into the online gaming. So far, I've been only dealing with obviously the players in the poker agency were playing online, but I was dealing mostly with live events, media, marketing, sponsorship, PR, etc.
Mhm.
So this was my first step into the online, which I utilized quite quickly, because what happened was that when I went to Bet24, I adapted a small portion of this by building a sponsored team for Bet24. It was supposed to be 24 players uh, to be part of the team. So we were slowly building this up. Um, and we had players from Canada, we had players but mostly from the Nordics, of course, because we had Jesper Hogard, who was a very famous Danish player at the time. So the plan was to build this up to, because of the name Bet24, to obviously have 24 players. Now, that also came to an abrupt ending, because I think maybe a year and a half in, Kindred bought us up, and they didn't take the brand Bet24, even though we had done a really good job of actually building up the brand Bet24 in the Nordics.
Mm.
They didn't take the brand and keep it. They just acquired all the players, both casino players and poker players, and closed down the brand,
Mm.
which was a little bit sad to see, because we've been working really hard to build up the brand via players, PR. There were we had this, I can't remember, but there was that poker series was running on this network, where we obviously had competitions online. You can win a ticket to go and play in this poker series.
Mm.
So we did a good job. I think I increased in the declining poker world, especially in the Nordics. I managed to increase the profit, not the turnover, the profit, with 8% in 1.5 years, which was
Very good.
basically unheard of in the declining poker market. So we did a really good job. Maybe that was why Kindred bought us up, because they started to see us as a threat or competitor. So they just said, "Here we go, and take us."
When you look back in time, it kind of makes sense if you think of it. Like Kindred has become massive, and they
Yeah,
got
yeah, yeah.
bought out. They were bought what, last year or 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
another thing that I think was smart, because Bet24 had a Danish license,
Mm.
one of the first license to operate legally in Denmark,
Mhm.
and we were also one of the first to launch a mobile app. That was actually quite funny. I sent out a press release um, where we were available in, I think it was 16 countries. And the same day, PokerStars sent out a press release saying that their poker app was available in two countries, UK and something else. And they actually, if you Google this, you can see the press releases have been mixed into one, where it says Bet24 and PokerStars launching, blah, blah, blah. And then you can see that Bet24 is available in 16 markets. So that was a fun, like a little I got you moment, but for the from against the big guys. But yeah.
We never touched on this, but did you see the mobile revolution happening? Did you expect it?
Yes, yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, mobile. Leo Vegas was obviously mobile first, but we were the first. I mean, so casino was already out there with Leo Vegas, but poker hadn't really come to the poker app yet. But it became obviously very big then with PokerStars, and PokerStars continued, and then they crushed it later on with their poker app, which was amazing. It's still a fantastic tool if you want to play poker online. PokerStars and now GG Poker is as well.
Mm-hmm. Looking back at all your years in the industry, what do you think have been the biggest regulatory or technical movements that you've seen?
So first of all, very clearly, I mean, back in the day when we, like, even when I started at Bet24, it was very little regulation. There was some regulation. You needed a license to do this and this and that. But when it comes to compliance and what you can say, you could use the word win here, you can become a millionaire, you can do this, because there was no regulation of what you can tell, like, because but nowadays it's very strict. Even the language that you can use in marketing, you cannot use the word become a millionaire here, etc., etc. What you can do, on the other hand, is if someone wins a big jackpot, you can always go out and brag about that someone won a big jackpot at your casino, but you cannot do it beforehand, because that's too enticing, because obviously the rules and the math is in the casino's favor. So to tell people that they're gonna win would be a lie. Now all of a sudden people are taking it very seriously and treat it as, okay, the end user is playing, but we are not playing. We are here for business, and we treat it as a business. And that shift has taken some time, but it's one of the major ones as well. You can see now, if you go to trade shows, that it's very cleaned up, structured, and the last major shift that has happened recently is all mergers, acquisitions. So it has gone from very, like, a lot of small brands or medium-sized brands, and now you see, and that's going to continue to happen. So what we're going to see now is that, like, now we have, for example, maybe 300 game suppliers who are doing slots. I would guesstimate that we will have 10 in 10 years from now, something like that, because they're going to be bought up, they're going to be merging together, and it's going to be like any other industry. So if you look at, I don't know, the car industry, you have 5 big ones, you have Mercedes, BMW, Toyota, whatever. We're going to have the same in the gaming industry in 5 to 10 years from now, if not sooner. And then if I had to add the fourth one, obviously the AI is going to play a big role in how we build the games, how we operate the games, and the actual art and the whole thing. It's going to be done by AI, and it's already happening as we speak.
Is AI a new thing, or has it been going on for a while? It's just we strapped the AI.
I mean, it's been around for a long time, but right now it's coming to a point where AI is so advanced and so good, so you don't see a difference between the real and what's man-made. So now it's applicable and ready to use, which I mean, 3-4 years ago, you can spot and say, that's AI. Now it's impossible. You can, I mean, it's right there in your face. I mean, I could sit there today, be an avatar, you would not know. So
There are, I agree with you to a certain extent. Like, it's getting good. I started paying more attention as, you know, it's becoming a thing. And I do question whether something is real anymore or not.
yeah.
But if it's something in a chat, or if it's a cartoon, or like an avatar, as you said, they need to be pretty sophisticated, but they can fool you.
Oh yeah.
They
Oh
can
yeah.
fool you.
And I mean, it's already. I mean, if you look at what's going on, I mean, the people are getting scammed left and right. I mean, I heard some story now in Malta that there was some old lady who was called up by the prime minister and scammed out of her pension and whatever. I don't know. So maybe she didn't have the best eyesight in the world,
Mm,
but still, it's kind of easy to
mm.
create an avatar that looks exactly like me,
Yes.
put my voice on it, and then all of a sudden I can stand on a mountain or I can be in Vegas
Mm,
just by a clip like this,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
you would never tell the difference, never.
Interesting conversation, but I wanted to come very briefly back to it because you
Yeah,
said, I think this is a very interesting thing what you're saying, that there are, for example, 300 gaming providers now, but there
yeah,
will be 10 in 10 years.
yeah,
One of my greatest concerns and also questions is, why are there so many providers of the same type in the market? Like, why are there 100 game providers? Why are there 100 payment providers? Because at the end of the day, how different are the games? I understand that they're cultural, that's something you need, some localized solution. But do you
yeah.
need 100 companies for this, or 200 or 300?
No, you don't need 300. Absolutely not. The games look pretty the same. Everybody's copying everybody. You have, I don't know how many book games or how many Egyptian games of certain. I mean, they're all the same. They look the same. So no, you don't need it. The thing is that people, it's still in the phase where it's, I wouldn't say easy, but it's still lucrative to start. So what people mostly do is that they start either a supplier like a game studio and do slots, and they just waiting for is to be big enough so they can be bought up.
Mm,
There's no longevity for them. They're just waiting to be bought up, and then they sell, and then they move on, and
mm,
then they start a new one and a new one and a new one. Um, and you have the same with operators. It's you have the serious ones, the big ones like Leo Vegas in Europe or Betson, etc. And then you have the other ones in US like BetMGM, DraftKings. But there is also so many small ones, and then that it's because it's so easy to put up. I mean, it's not hard to build. All you need to do is just put up a site, and then I'm doing it very simplified now, obviously, and get some suppliers and pull up the games and do some marketing. So what's happening right now is that people are basically taking chances, putting it up, and then trying to make as much money as possible. Many of them are inflating their numbers by giving out bonuses, etc. And then once they have reached a certain EBITDA, then they can easily go out and sell the database and sell the company. And some of them stay and use the casino. So when you sell to some big one, big operator, they use the same brand, and then otherwise they just take the database and for the players and pay for what's inside, and then keep on rolling.
mm.
But that's why I'm saying. I mean, I saw the statistic last year. So 2024 was 189 new gaming suppliers launched.
Wow.
You can understand that is not something that's going to be sustainable in the long run. It's zero chance.
Mm-hmm.
And now we see the same. It's starting to slow down with game suppliers because it's so saturated. But what we're seeing now is with the payment suppliers instead. They are. I have no idea where they're coming from, but it seems to be a new one every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's literally insane. Because of my LinkedIn profile is fairly like
Well
people
known.
well known. So I would say maybe between 3 and 5 messages per day from a payment supplier. I'm not even employed. I have my own company who's working with AI-driven AI video content, and
Mm-hmm.
they come to me and say that their payment product is perfect for me. How can it be perfect for me? So that tells me that they do zero research and
Yes.
they just blast out. Um, and this is a well-known problem in the industry. People are getting bombarded with these basically just a script, copy paste, and then just hope for the best.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that and they make zero difference between B2C and B2B, which is kind of interesting as well.
Yeah.
So I understand it's new people. They're sitting there. It's salespeople. They work on commission, or it's bots just shipping out messages, and they hope for one response in 1 in 1,000 or
Yes.
1 in 2,000. Fine, I understand the concept, but it's very very annoying to get because you have to. When you wake up in the morning, you look at your messages on LinkedIn, so you have to read. But as soon as I start reading the first sentence and I come to the word payment, I delete
I
immediately.
I assume that's what happens. I can also tell you from the perspective of somebody who has done it. It's like payments has become a keyword that you want to delete. Like when you see it, it's gone, and you feel it. As a
Yeah,
commercial person, you really feel it.
yeah.
Um,
I wish that LinkedIn could have some
Filter.
form of like filter. So if I click in, let's say there's keywords. So if it says I click in payment, or I click in this, or I click in um, whatever it might be, SEO, whatever it might be, that doesn't suit me. It might suit someone else, but it doesn't suit me. Then it just filters and goes to archives. So I don't need to bother about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. That would be great. But I've seen many other people on LinkedIn suggesting the same thing. I doubt that LinkedIn is going to do it, but we'll see, because they're going to have to take action, because right now it's quite clear that there's so many fake profiles on LinkedIn
Yes.
that is just created, and then have find out some AI automated way to shoot out these sales. Call it sales. It's not sales in any shape or form. It's really bad practice, but it just shoots out mass messages to everybody who accepts you or sends you an email or whatever it might be, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Do you think the industry is better now compared to when it started?
Yes, it's better in a way that it's more secure place both to work in as a person, and it's a much safer environment for the players. So if you are a player who are playing on what I would call like a safe site that has a license, and you have done your due diligence before you putting in money, you are safe. So that's fine. Um, is it more as fun as it was 10 years ago or 15? Debatable, because 15 years ago it was a little bit of a wild west, where it was a fun. I mean, the business just started out. The industry was just starting out, and learning by doing, and we made so many mistakes, but we had a lot of fun. I need to tell you, it was crazy fun. So yes, it's good and it's better now, but it was probably more fun back then. So maybe it's good that I'm soon 50. I didn't start back then, because then maybe I would be drained after 2 days.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Do you think the industry is still going to be a good place in 10 to 20 years from now?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's going to be a very good place. We're going in the right direction. Every leader, or I'll say most of the leaders in the industry with high positions or owning founders of companies, are realizing that the only way to keep this industry growing is to have a sustainable and trustworthy business, and the only way to do that is to become what should we call it? Serious. You need to be a serious business to survive. Otherwise, you stand no chance. And the things we did 15 years ago, you can't get away with today. No chance.
In one of your previous interviews, you said that the industry being regulated and regulating so much is a good thing.
Yeah.
But definitely a feeling on the market that I've seen. People think that there's overregulation. There are too many barriers, too many things to think about. And even in terms of cost, the cost of being regulated is getting a little bit out of control, which many times just forces some operators to go offshore.
Yeah. If I had to pinpoint it on something, I would say that the governments of certain countries or some states in the US have become greedy, because they realize that how much tax they can earn.
Mm.
So look at Netherlands now, they're debating, or they might even have implemented a higher tax rate for the operators and the suppliers. And that's going to backfire. So what's going to happen is that the higher tax rate, the more black market we're going to see, and the less the government is going to earn. So now we're going through a phase where they're trying to find a balance, where how much tax can they get and take without people giving up and going back to operating on the black side.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a balance we are in right now. So you can see that Germany is struggling hard right now, because they have crazy rules. You need to have your games first. You need to have them certified with GLI. Then once you go to the operator, if you come from the supplier side like me, and you go to the operator say yes, they want your games. Then you need to get them reapproved again by the same body, GLI, that actually approved your games before you went to the operator. So you're going in circles. So they're taking way too long time, and that's just. I went to a panel in Munich, discussed this while the GLI was sitting in the audience, and I mean, to me, it's just stupid, and it's taking way too long time, which makes it very hard to operate in Germany, because you need to have a lot of patience. It takes a lot of time. I'm sure that both suppliers and operators in Germany would agree with me, that saying that Germany used to be a fantastic market before the regulation. It's still a good market, but it takes a lot of patience to get your games up and profitable, as it used to be.
Mm. And I also remember you saying that it's very good to be the first in a regulated market. Can you explain to us why?
Yeah, so I think what I meant by that is that, first of all, you get good visibility, because you can ride on that PR wise, right? That you are the first in the market that are being regulated. Hence why, if you look at Brazil, as soon as Brazil started to become regulated, you saw that Kaizen or Betano were extremely fast to go for and now they are by far the biggest in the market. And the reason for that is that you build trust very quickly. And the players that have been playing before in the unregulated market, that might have been frauded not getting their money on time, big wins that never got paid out, etc. Now they can play on a serious site. And the other reason is obviously first to market is that you learn the rules, and then once the first regulation is normally not set in stone, but once you are in there, you have a compliance team that follows this on a regular basis, and then daily basis actually, and then follow and implement the new rules as they go. If you come last, or even if you come, I would say last, you have a big hurdle, because then you need to break through all the noise, all the operators that already been there. So first, I think it's good. I still think it's good, because you have first to market is always good. And even though there are black market operators in that region, you show to the government, and that you take this seriously, and then they are going to take you seriously and treat you well once you start operating in that region. And two, you show the players that you take them seriously, so you're going to build trust, and they're going to play on your site.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to cost you more because you need to pay the taxes, but you might acquire much more players by doing this. So I think it's going to even out, or it will even out. I mean, just look at the numbers of what Betano is doing now in Brazil. It's off the chart.
Mm-hmm. They have been really good. They're really good in Romania as well, where I come from. They really set their foot in.
I mean, Kaizen overall as a group is crushing it, but just in Brazil, if you take that as an example, I mean, they are massively big compared to even the very big ones in Brazil.
Let's talk about sales. I know that you even posted about how much you love sales.
Yeah.
Been doing this for almost 2 decades, basically.
I've been doing sales since I was 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even longer. Why do you like it? Why?
I mean, it's not for everybody. For me, it came naturally. I like how you can to get things done by not convincing, but explaining or take a product or take a solution that you have and explain it to another person or another company why this is good for them. And then also, obviously, the most important thing about sales is ask questions. So if you have a product, that might not be for everybody. So ask as many questions as possible in the conversation. So it could be everything from in gaming now, it is which market is most important for you, this and that, etc., etc. Which demographic are you targeting? Is it older people, older, younger, etc.? And based on all these questions, you structure down, and then you offer something that they want, and then it's not rocket science. If you ask these questions, then you know what the other person want or the company wants, and then you offer them what they want, instead of like a bad salesperson will do is don't listen to the customer, just saying my product is the best, you need to have it. That gives you nothing. No one is going to buy that, and that is something that sometimes it's hard to convey. And sales is literally, and I wrote this in a piece on LinkedIn. Sales is in everything you do on a daily basis. Yeah. You need to put your son to bed. You need to convince him to go to bed. Okay, how do you do that? You do it you convince him that it's good for him, because either he's gonna be, if he doesn't go to bed, he's gonna be tired tomorrow, and then he's not gonna do this and this and that. So sales is through everything. So if you master sales, and I'm not meaning in this sleazy car salesman style, but if you master sales on a higher level, you are gonna flourish in life. and that is something that people don't understand. People sometimes look down, oh, you are in sales, oh, that you're one of those annoying people. But they don't understand that they are using sales every day of the minute. Like every minute of the day is sales. That's what you do. Every phone call you make, when you need to book a doctor's appointment, you're using sales. Because you want the first appointment, right? You don't want to wait 6 weeks. So you talk to whoever is in the reception to make an appointment as fast as possible. That is sales. Everything is sales. And people need to understand this. So master sales, and your life gonna be much easier.
What do you think about the saying, people love to buy but hate to be sold to? Is it true?
That's absolutely true. No one likes to be sold to, and you shouldn't sell like that. It's called sales, and but what you do when you're selling, and this is a misconception, is that people think that I'm calling up people and telling them, buy this, buy this, buy this. No, that's not the case. You're calling up and say, hey, etc. Be polite, and then you just ask them questions. If it turns out in the sales call that my product or my solution that I have is not for you, then I'm gonna tell you, I'm sorry, but this is you don't need my product, and then you move on. Because to sit, you can force someone to buy something, sure, but they are not going to be happy. And when they're not happy, they're gonna tell 10 people. But if you sell, if you manage to ask the right questions, and it actually correlates with the product or the solution that you have, and they buy it from you, and they walk away from the conversation happy, and then they're gonna tell hundreds and hundreds of people. So you're gonna get referrals back. So it's not about pushing someone to do something that they don't want to do. It's about making them understand that this is something that they need. That's a big difference.
And you have absolutely no idea how much I appreciate that, because I've been in situations like these where I talk to somebody, nothing comes out of it, but they explain to me. I ask them, they explain, listen, the product is like this, I need this. If you have this, call me, I will get it. And funnily enough, the most trust I have ever built with some people is, again, when I told them, you know what, I think you're right, this is not fit for you, but I know this. Why don't you try this? Or why don't you do this? And then you have a completely different relationship with the person. And even if you don't make a sale, then the door is open. You can come in you can come in the future and say, hey, listen, not sure if you remember, but you needed this. I have it. Are you interested? Yeah, let's go. And
And I mean, there's been occasions where I've been talking to people, and I realized I don't have in my portfolio what they want. Like let's say that they wanted skill games or live games or whatever. I don't have that, right? But then I say, so okay, you're only focusing on live games. I understand. I'm not going to bother you. But if I could, I would recommend you to this company because I think their live games are fantastic. They're gonna thank you so much, and they're gonna talk to that person, and then maybe in 5 years when they start implementing, in this case, slot games, they're gonna come back to me because then I already built trust. We are friends. We're gonna say hello in the trade shows for 5 years. And that also is the important thing. You need to, even if you talk to someone and they don't buy from you, keep in contact with them. Just say hello in trade shows, have a coffee. Don't make everything business. Try to build relationship. Relationship is everything. Once you have the relationship in place, that person might move on to a position in another company 5 years from now. And all of a sudden, your partnership that you already formed without buying and selling anything is going to come to fruition later on.
Correct. Correct.
Correct.
So is there a list that you would recommend, a quick list of do's and don'ts?
Absolutely. So I mean, do is don't be afraid to, and I keep saying this, and I refer this to what's going on right now. Pick up the phone. Jesus Christ, what's going on right now? You have all these Gen Zs. I'm not saying everybody, but like it's called a phone. It's not called an iText. It's called an iPhone. So pick up the phone and talk to people. Ask them. Talk, and they might have. You send an email. You have no idea. The tone in your voice doesn't come across perfectly, and you cannot read if they don't reply. You have no idea why. So you're just sitting there wondering why. So pick up the phone, and they will respond by saying, "Hey, Lars, I'm busy," or "I'm homesick. Can we talk the next day?" Fine. Then you know why they don't respond. So that would be the first thing. Once you have the opportunity to talk to someone, even if they used to be Skype, now it's Teams, but instead of sitting there chatting for hours with people, just say, "Listen, do you have 5 minutes? And we can call each other, and we can wrap this up. It takes 5 minutes, much easier." And then you have a conversation like normal people. That is something that has been lost throughout the 10 years. People are now using the phone as a text machine, and
Yeah.
that's horrible. Then you have, obviously, again, going back to this, ask questions, because you need the information to make the right decision, and to inform the potential client of what they need, or not need, and based on that, so ask questions. If I had to measure it in percentage in a sales call, I probably talk maybe 10% and let the customer talk maybe 90.
Mm-hmm.
And I only talk in the beginning. I talk when I ask questions, and I talk in the end if it's suitable for me to try to close the deal, or if it's suitable for me to say the product is not right. That's it. The rest is the customer talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to engage in a conversation. It's not you trying to push something. And then I would say, don't be afraid of telling the customer that they are wrong. You don't need to be rude, but you can easily tell them, based on what you have told me, I think that you're looking at it the wrong way. Maybe you should look at it this way or this way,
Mm-hmm.
X, Y, Z. And then so you open the perspective of the customer, so he or she understand what you're trying to say, or from where they're coming from.
Mm.
Um, and don't is obviously, to don't do your research. Like if you call up someone, or if you're planning to have a phone call with someone, or planning to send an email to someone, do a research. It take 5-10 minutes. Go on their website, check out what is their main core, read their mission statement, check what they want, so
Mm.
you understand the core, the value of the company. What are they most focused on? And once you know that, okay, you know their markets, you know this, maybe go on LinkedIn, check the CEO, what has he posted lately, so you can find out, is he. The biggest mistake people do is that they do zero research. They just have a list of people that they want to close, tier one customers, tier two customers,
Oh,
whatever,
yeah. Yes.
and they do zero research. They just think, oh, this is a big customer, this is a customer we need, and let's go and chase and send whatever. And then if when people say, okay, send me over information, I'll have a look. That is 100 in 99.9999% a no.
No.
So instead of saying, when they say that, when the clients say, okay, send me over information, ask, what kind of information have I missed in this phone call, that you need to see right now? And then they're going to open up again, and you keep on talking until you have the correct information.
Mm.
So it's an art. It's an art to sell, but it's also, if if you learn the basics of asking the correct questions and don't push and let the customer make the decision based on his own answer, his or she's own answers, it's not that hard as people think it is.
What if the customer doesn't want to talk to you? How do you close somebody who doesn't want to talk to you? Or they're difficult to reach?
If they're difficult to reach, if it's a customer that I think, based on my research, is a good fit for the product or the solution that I have, and they refuse to respond to any of my messages on LinkedIn or mails or whatever it might be, I don't try too many times because it's time consuming. There's so many companies out there. You don't need to like try just one because you're just wasting your time. But if you think that you have a perfect product for that company, get the referral. Always get the referral. Find out, okay, this CEO is friends with XYZ. You go on LinkedIn and check who is connected to who, and then you talk to a friend of yours that is friend with the CEO, and then that friend is making an introduction. And make an introduction is gold. Once you have the introduction made from someone else, it's basically that person had vouched for you. And then you are in the conversation. Now, with that said, it's important if you're gonna succeed in sales, you can have 10 leads that are you call hot leads, and you keep on pounding them for putting the pen on the paper for the contract. Don't do that. Just send them a reminder once every 2 weeks. Okay, we have a contract pending, etc., or whatever. While you do that, make sure that you always constantly fill your sales funnel with new leads, so you never run out. Because you are going to have drop-offs. You're going to have clients who say, yes, I want your product, and then 2 weeks down the line, they change their mind.
They're gone.
They're gone, right? And that happens. Don't take it personally. So just build your sales funnel so you constantly have new leads to work with. And once you have that, you fill them up all the time, and you keep track of what's going on LinkedIn. You see that X company signed with X company, then you reach out to them, you get a lead, you get here, you continue to do that, and it's a constant evolving thing. So while you have 200 leads here, you have 200 hot leads here, and you have warm leads here, and then you have cold leads here. That cold lead here, you reach out to maybe once every 6 months and say how it's going. That's it. Just write, how's it going, whatever. And then you leave it at that. If he responds and say, now I'm ready, brilliant. If he doesn't respond, leave it. Don't keep on pushing people. If you push people, they're gonna just stop responding, and then the deal is
Push them away. You push them away.
You push them away. It's like going on dates. Don't push too hard.
I'd like your thoughts on personal branding. Some people say it's important. Some people say it's vanity metrics. Where do you stand?
If you're gonna work within marketing or sales, especially marketing and sales, your personal brand is mega important, because then the trust barrier is when you contact someone. The more you do, the more articles you're in. I have a panel next week, just trying to do as many posts as I can on LinkedIn. I'm not writing posts that are not fun to read. I'm trying to make them as fun to read as possible. But the personal branding I've been doing now for the last, I think I saw LinkedIn as a very good opportunity very early on. So back then LinkedIn didn't really have, now maybe I shouldn't tell this trick, but I'm going to tell it anyway. Back then LinkedIn didn't have a button where I say I don't know this person, so you couldn't get blocked. So what I did way back in the day when LinkedIn was kind of new, and I realized that LinkedIn is going to be a big thing, was that I typed in the keyword CEO iGaming, and then I just added, literally I sat a whole day and just added people.
Yeah.
I had the title CEO back then because I was working for Poker Icons.
Hmm.
So people were accepting me, and now all of a sudden I had this big network, and based on that, I built pretty fast, and then constantly shipping out new. Anything that's happening in your life, any thought that comes to your mind that you think it's worth sharing, put together a post or whatever you can and
Okay.
just ship it out there, because the more you build, the more people see your name, and the more people see your name is that when you contact them, even if they don't know you, they have read, or they have back in your mind, they've seen your name somewhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they will probably accept a meeting or a call. So if you have the personal branding built right, you will either get a new job, you will at least get to the first initial stage of the sales. If you close it or not, depending on if your product is right or if you do it well, but at least you get to the sales, to the initial call. And you don't need to work through that barrier of, I don't know this person. And if you have the personal branding, you skip all that. You skip 5 steps
It opens
uh,
the door.
to everything, to literally everything. And sooner or later, what's happening in the last 5 years is that it goes the other way around. I don't chase to be on panels. I get invited to be on panels because I have a personal brand that is well known. And then, so it starts to snowball, and then it just rolls on by itself.
You have the
And
momentum.
yeah, hence, I mean, why we have this podcast right now is because not, I mean, hopefully because you find me interesting as a person, but
Of
also
course.
because my personal branding. Because if I didn't have the personal branding or my name out there for so long, you would not know who I was. There's many people out there who in high leadership position who people don't know about. If they just did a few posts here and there, it would go really fast for them, and it would be easy for them. I don't say that the CEO of BetMGM needs to post. He's pretty well known, but let's say VP of sales, or you are in VP marketing or head of marketing, you can easily accelerate your career quite fast by just starting to building your personal brand.
And also to add on top of that, when you, like in your case, for example, to be able to have a pleasant conversation with you, I went through your previous interviews. I went
Yeah,
through things that you posted. I went through articles you've been mentioned in. And it makes the conversation much more fluid
yeah,
than, hi, how are you? You've been here for a long while. What do you think? It builds context and it builds relevance.
yeah.
Um, but speaking of, because you clearly have the momentum, you've been in iGaming for a very long time. I saw that you shifted towards an AI project. It seems to be geared a bit for iGaming as well, but I'd be curious
Yeah.
to know like what your thought process was behind it.
My wife has been in social media and marketing for a while, and then she decided to start a company who utilizes AI for video content, and for me it was an easy decision. So I invested in that, and MConverts, the company was registered in April, and we already have one deal out there done with Square and Air, PR firm Sita, who is the video. You can probably put it in the link if you want, or
Mhm.
after in this podcast. But it's a really cool video that we did together with Sita, and I just reached out to Robin at Square in the Air, and we did a fantastic video. Took some
Congratulations.
time. Thank you so much. And I mean, now we're talking to, I can't say the names, but we're talking to other board game providers and the platforms and operators. The gaming industry is perfect for this because there's so many slot launches. You have trade shows, you have this, you have that. And what I find strange is that you have gaming companies who invest maybe, I don't know, 500,000 or 50 or 60 or 100,000, whatever it might be. A booth at ICE 3x3 or 3x6 is very expensive. Then you need to design it, then you need to do this, then you need to fly in the staff, then you need to have this. You're spending a ton of money being at ICE. And the only thing you then do is do one LinkedIn post saying, hey, we are attending, meet us. That doesn't really correlate. So what I would like to see and what I'm trying to explain to people when I'm talking to them is that if you're going to spend all this money attending ICE with your company, having a stand, you need to have something that is engaging to get people to get to your stand as well and book a meeting for you or with you. Hence why you can utilize the AI content and in a much cooler way to stand out from the crowd on LinkedIn or on Facebook or on Twitter by having a cool video coming up saying we are attending, but with a much more, you can basically fly through space. We can create whatever you want with the AI, right?
Yeah.
And then you fly through space and you land in Lisbon. That is something that's going to catch people's eyes. And even if you spend a little bit more on doing an AI video than you would do on a still picture with 4 people saying, hey, we are attending, you're going to get much more traction. You're going to get much more engagement on LinkedIn pre the show. And then you're going to get much more visitors to your stand. So hence it makes sense to obviously work towards the gaming industry.
Are you seeing or are you looking at any other opportunities to invest in other companies? Is there anything interesting for you out there?
There is a few. I mean, I'm very selective. So I'm trying to be careful. I'm not one of those big VC investor that sits on billions. So I need to be careful. But if something cool comes around, for sure, I will have a look at it. And it needs to be something that I can see is going to be profitable in the future. So preferably something within AI and that matches also with my background with iGaming and because I want to invest in things that I understand. Otherwise, I'm just gonna sit there as a silent investor and don't understand the thing they're doing. Might be super profitable, but how can I know if I don't know what I invest in?
Correct.
Yeah.
Lars, last question. How would you like to be remembered in iGaming history?
Oi. I would like to be remembered as hardworking, inspirational leader.
Good
I
point.
think it is. Yeah.
Good point. All right.
Yeah.
Something that I really appreciate about you, by the way, because when I was watching you, you answer straight to the point, which is quite contrary to what we are trained to do in sales in general.
I don't fluff around. I just say what I think and that's it. If yeah, it makes so much easier. It
I
goes
very
faster.
much, I very much appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, Lars Kollind, thank you very much for your time, Lars. We really appreciate it. Stay tuned, everybody, for more from iGaming history.
Thank you.
Thank you.